Hey there, everybody. Happy New Year. It is time for some more Inside Lion Athletics. Hope you had a great holiday season, lots of family, lots of good food. But now it's time for lots of sports again. The spring fires up. Softball joins basketball. Golf is going to be out here before long, Coach. And then track and field on top of that. We're going to start with softball, though. I've got Brittany Miller, head coach of the Lions softball team, here with me. Coach, schedule dropped yesterday, and the season will be here in just over a month.
We're excited. We got a lot of good opponents coming in, and we're excited to get it kicked off. I think we have 20 home games to start off the season before we hit the road, so we're super excited about it.
That's a little bit of a switch from last year, wasn't it, where pretty much everything was out on the road last year, wasn't it?
We played a lot of home games last year, but, yeah, we got a lot of quality opponents coming in this year.
All right. Oklahoma coming back, or are you just going to go see the Sooners?
We're just going to go see the Sooners for the spring, but we do have them coming back next fall.
Yeah. Well, it's 2 trips to Oklahoma, right, to
Yes.
Norman?
Yes, we're going to go the first time, but not play them that first tournament, and then we're going to go back on the road to play a single against them in March.
Okay. It'll be fun. Yeah, we just got it right. March 19th.
Yes.
Mark your calendars. Hey, tell us about the team. It's been a year since we last got together. You've got new players. You've got players you didn't have before that you don't have anymore. Coaching staff additions. Why don't we start there?
We added Coach Reeves. We're super excited about him. He's been really energetic and really helpful and just having another set of eyes on the practice and, throughout the game. So that's been an awesome addition. And then girls-wise, we got a lot of student athletes that we're excited about. We got Haley Montemere coming in, JUCO transfer, that shortstop and catcher. We got a freshman, Aaliyah, coming behind the plate. So we're excited about what we got coming in.
All right, big sticks?
Yes, we got some big sticks coming in.
All right, how is this team, what does it look like compared to last year's?
I think we got a lot of athleticism. We have a little bit more competitive nature within the group, so we're excited about just them being able to compete with each other for some positions, but also working together in order to put the best product out there. So we're excited.
So you get that circle out there about 60 feet from home plate, and that's how'd we do there? We get better pitching? We've got the same pitching that's gotten better, or?
We've added Avery to that lineup, and then we got just maturity. So Julia's coming back for her senior year, and she's been doing a great job just leading and being able to put her pitches where she wants, and she's feeling good, so excited about her. And then, everybody else is matured and older, and, they're excited to go.
Coach, when you've looked at your squad all during fall ball and those games, where is this team compared to others, your first two?
I think we're going in the right direction. So they're really sticking to the process. They're really excited about, being in the moment and taking it pitch to pitch. And so I feel like we've got a really good product that we're going to put out there this year, and excited we're going to be at home to start it off with.
All right, let's talk a little bit about that home part. Lions are going to open play at home February 7th. That'll be against South Dakota State and South Dakota. And then you'll see both of them again over the next 2 days with Texas Southern thrown into the mix as well. Mm-hmm. Hosting a little tournament, are we?
Yes, we are.
Tell us a little bit about those.
We got South Dakota and South Dakota State coming in from the Summit League, and so they're quality opponents, and, it's exciting to kind of start off with some of those northern schools. And then, Texas Southern's in our backyard, so it's fun to be able to play them.
Indeed. The schools coming from the north, that's typically those guys and gals, baseball too, but softball here, they love to come south this time of year because unless they're playing indoors, they're playing in the snow.
Yes, they got coming indoors or down south is helpful for all of them. We got South Dakota actually coming back for another round in the third weekend, so
wow,
they like coming south.
That indeed. I think, when I was at Trinity, we were playing Cornell and a couple other big schools from up east, but they were just looking for a day and a game and a school to play.
Exactly.
With those northern schools, what about the ones that are going to be most impactful as far as, do you like checkpoints on your way to the start of conference play?
I think we got some solid opponents that we're be able to kind of gauge where we're at and what we need to be doing and what we need to be working on. Obviously, we got Rutgers and Iowa coming in. That'll be a good challenge for us, just coming in and being in the Big Ten, just to be able to see where we stand and where we're at, especially this third year going into transition. But we got some midweeks, North Dakota and Wichita State. That'll be some good kind of just see where we're at when we come to our conference, more conference-like teams. So, we got some good quality opponents. We've got Kansas in there and Marshall in there when we go to Oklahoma, so that'll be fun.
Oh, that'll be good stuff. Abilene Christian, everybody around here loves seeing the Wildcats come in just because we're old Lone Star Conference rivals, just not in softball.
Yeah, they'll be exciting to come in. We played them, I think, 2 years ago, so it'll be good to have them come back.
All right. Have you kind of looked around the Southland, and, it's a little bit bigger than it was? Yeah,
we added SFA this year for softball, and so – it's going to be good. It's going to be good. It's going to be competitive. They lost a lot of seniors across the conference, so it'll be good to see.
Look around and see how these other conference opponents did in their fall play.
Yeah, everybody did pretty good. Everybody played a lot of JUCOs and a couple of D1s, so that'll be good.
What is the real measure of progress or success from fall ball as you go in? What do you want to get to before you start spring to not be behind?
Making sure that they're coachable and still in learning mode instead of, feeling like they have a finished product. So, the preseason is going to be important for us to continue to grow and, develop and see where we're at and put everybody in the right spots and the right positions for, being able to go into conference.
Okay. All right, Coach, let's see. South Dakota State on February 7th. I'm not sure what day of the week that is, but
Friday.
It's a Friday. So that will be one game at 4:30 and another at 7 against South Dakota. That's when you can start coming out and watch them over at the McCain Family Softball Complex.
Yes, sir.
All right. Coach, what'd you do for the holidays?
Hung out with the kids. We stayed home. It was nice and quiet.
Who did all the cooking?
My husband.
Wasn't that great?
Yes, it was.
Juanita did a great job cooking up good stuff for us, but, man, ours was spent, like, horizontal on the couch most of the time.
Oh, yeah, we did a lot of running around with the kids.
All right, good deal. Well, Santa Claus has gotta have somebody to go to, so came by your place.
Oh, yes.
All right, folks, Lions up. We're going to have some more of Inside Lion Athletics for you in just a couple of moments. Don't go far. Hey, everybody, welcome back to Inside Lion Athletics. I'm Charlie Chitwood. We've had Brittany Miller to talk about softball. Now we've got the athletic director, Jim Curry. How was your holiday, man?
It was great. Thank you. How was yours?
It was quiet. It was
nice.
quiet. We had a fire out in the backyard one day. And
oh, nice. Okay.
Lots of hot things to cook.
Beautiful.
Plenty of dog time. You got to have the dogs around.
Of course. Well, I'll say this. It was probably not surprisingly still pretty busy around here, though.
Yeah.
Which is a good thing. I mean,
how many days did you actually stay off campus?
I did a good job of that.
Did you?
And I hope most other people did too. Now, I was here a few days this past, before, this week here.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I tried to, I stayed away last week.
Right.
Or the week before, I guess. That was Christmas week. Yeah. They're all running together now.
I know. Somebody had that post about, I don't know what day it is during the holidays. I'm kind of right there with them.
Well, I woke up this morning, I thought it was Monday. Because, we've got a basketball game. We were in the office. It's my Monday meeting schedule today. It was all weird.
Did you
yesterday
travel?
Felt like a Sunday.
Did y'all travel any?
We did. We went. I went to upstate New York to see my in-laws. Went down to North Carolina to see my folks, and then I was actually able to get away and head down to South Florida for a couple days. But actually, the weather in Texas was better than there, so I should have just come home, which is what I knew I should have done in the first place. But
Texas is always better, Jim.
It was good.
We're going to tell you that.
Well, it proved it right this time.
Oh, very good.
But it was good.
Well, glad your holidays were great.
Yeah, likewise.
And,
Hope everybody
especially on the travel part. We were only off a week.
I know.
It felt like it was only a week.
No, that's exactly right. But it was busy though. I mean, that's I think just the reality of it now too, with the way that the calendar sets up, the portal, games during the break. I mean, university doesn't open back up till the 13th, but we have 4 home games in the next 5 days.
Boom.
We are locked and loaded on getting ready for any type of mid-year enrollees that we've got coming in this year, which we've got plenty, and that's kind of part of the game. I was kind of talking with our team over the break and just kind of resetting a little bit on Monday. There's a quiet period. There's a part of the recruiting calendar that we're in right now from the 1st through the 6th, the 1st through the 5th, where you could basically have visits for potential mid-year enrollees in the sport of football. And, it's crazy to think that 5-day period, because of the way that the portal's set up and the calendar, that's going to dictate, a lot of things for not just us, but everybody in the country, right? How those 5 days or 6 days go, which is kind of crazy to think about, right? But that's kind of where we are right now. And so you've heard a lot of people talk about how evaluating the football calendar from a recruiting and a games perspective,
right?
Managing that against the portal and managing it against mid-year enrollees. And so, it creates some challenges for sure. But, I mean, again, what it also means is that while there is a break, that's probably a loose term, I think, for anybody. Not to mention there's a lot of people working behind the scenes just to get ready to put on game day. This was kind of a little bit of a weird December for us because we had those games in that third week at home, and then we were off, which is a little bit atypical. But at the same time, too, now we're back. Like I said, 4 games in the next 5 days, and our folks were having to work, during the, again, quote unquote break, to get ready for that too. So appreciate the work that goes into that. That's a little bit of the kind of unseen, behind the scenes type of work that people don't see when they or think about when they're rolling up to the game.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of people that gave up a lot of family time to get game and venue and everything ready. Heck, we had people out here painting the floor. Down the East Texas A&M.
Got that old name off.
I know, right? I tell you, it looks really good out there now. And again, continuing to use the opportunity to promote the brand. And but the floor looks good, and actually got some nice social traffic too. So excited to see people engaging with that over the break. And
what percentage of all the brands on campus, the old brand, have been replaced so far that are under your responsibility? I know you don't have everything.
So we started with the digital assets first.
Right. Okay.
For 2 reasons. One, we could get to them quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And then 2, a lot of the things that we do from an external perspective now have got a digital nexus to it. So, our thought process in all of this was to start outward back in. And so that's how we prioritized what we were going to work on. So the digital assets got a higher focus. Now we're starting to get into the physical assets. And not just here in athletics, but across the university.
Mm-hmm.
So, again, there's a really, I think we talked a little bit about this on an episode in the fall, but we've got a project management team that we've got working with to help us do this across the entire university, cataloging every initiative, every item, everything that goes into that, putting a set schedule in place, having some regular meetings and just some touch points to have some accountability there in terms of process completion and timelines and things like that. So, we've got still a good amount of work to do on the physical assets. Turf, scoreboard signage, windscreens, things like that. We got the backdrop updated now, right? So looking nice. Fresh here. Yeah. Again, Avi, and the elf, we're working hard over the break, tinkering with the little wooden mallet.
You always hear that in the background, but good stuff's happening.
But it is moving so really good. And actually we were talking at Cabinet this morning about some university signage that's coming online. The university signage on the Performing Arts Center has been updated. If you drive up 24 now, it really pops. It looks great. So kudos to those folks. They got that done right before the break. And then we're now talking about the entrances to the university. So, people have been working. People have been working for sure.
The lettering up on the building, I'm wondering if they were able to save any money by cycling some of the E's and use some of the old letters.
It's
they just polish them up a little bit.
Oh, it's all fresh. And actually, the thing that's kind of cool about it too is it's a lot bigger.
Yeah.
So they couldn't keep the because
that's
it
true.
pops a little bit better
true.
now too.
All right.
So you know where you are now, which is a good thing.
I love it.
For sure.
All right. Hey, you mentioned portal in there and that little window of when you can have recruits on campus when nobody's here looking. That's what January 1st through the 4th is, isn't it?
It's kind of that, yeah. And then you got a crazy December period, too, right before the break.
Yeah, well, December got crazier with the ruling about 2 years of full eligibility for a JUCO student-athlete at the JUCO.
Yeah.
And then they got a brand-new start at a 4-year institution.
Yeah, it's I think given the ruling in that case, I think the NSA did have to respond and probably felt they had to do what they needed to do, understandably, in that regard. I think, I've talked to some of our coaches over the break and just kind of, what does that mean for them? And honestly, I think for them, it just they understand it, but at the same time too, it's hard to reset again, right? So you're in the middle of a recruiting process. You know what your numbers look like. You're already trying to adjust to new roster caps. You're trying to understand better the portal dynamics, which are still very fluid, obviously. Recruiting calendars change, and now you throw this in because it can change the mix both with your current squad and other prospects as well. I mean, there are people that went in the portal after that announcement who thought they were done with eligibility, who now became eligible. Again, across the country, not just here, but across the country. So it just the hard part is just the intense fluidity of it and trying to be responsive to it. So at the end of the day, I'll tell you, to be a head coach right now in Division I college athletics, it's really hard. It's really hard.
It sure isn't just coaching, is it?
No, it isn't. And, again, coaching and recruiting are hard enough, right? And then you're trying to build an identity. You're trying to build a team. You're trying to bring people together. You don't know what your numbers may or may not look like for maybe even reasons outside your own. And so, that's one of the things too, is that as we try to be responsive to what's coming down the pipe with the court case and some of the changes coming, we're thinking about, well, how do we become responsive to that and giving our coaches the tools to compete in that space and recruit and retain, relative to that as well. And so I think for anybody that's wondering back home, are we doing anything in that regard? We are. We are allocating resources in that way. And so I think everybody kind of thinks NIL, right? Well, it's become much more comprehensive than that in this new paradigm that's coming following the final settlement in this court case, which will come in April. But we're already starting to implement some of the things to be responsive to that now and working hard to recruit and retain student athletes who we want to be a part of this. And again, I've always kind of thought it's a lot easier to keep the guys here or the guys and gals here who have demonstrated some ability, right? Have some accolades, and then having to go out and recruit new ones, right?
Yeah.
And so a little bit of the energy's been there, but now we've kind of got it on the recruiting side too. And I think when we look at what we're doing from a player development perspective and a student development perspective, for that matter, we've got a lot of good things we can point to. So,
Brandon Tucker was just named an AP All-American. That's not bad.
Well, second year in a row with an AP All-American.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, Max Epps last year, an NFL draft pick last year. I was thinking about also Andrew Armstrong over the break too, who was the leading receiver in the SEC.
He's not done poorly as a hog.
Yeah, right. And who's got his start here, right? Conference Player of the Year awards in soccer and football, right? At the defensive for Brandon. So I look at what we're doing here, and I'm actually really proud, right? And I hope that the people that are contributing to the athletics department can see the return on the investment that they're making. That not only are we graduating student athletes at really a higher clip than we have and really ever, and we're continuing to update our grad data.
That's
there.
Great.
But positive academic outcomes, graduation, but then also now we're developing student athletes to compete at this level. So great return on that investment, but now we not only do we just want to recruit them and retain them, now we want to recruit them and develop them. Now we want to retain them. And that's where the next evolution of this comes in this next space is we talked a little bit about and teased, trying to get to 4,000 donors, roar for 4, right?
Right.
We'll have more information on that coming, but this is what it gets back into for us to kind of get to that next phase of this. We get them here, we recruit them, they get here, they develop, both as students and as athletes. Now phase 3 of it, kind of after the recruiting and the development, is we got to retain them.
Yeah.
And
you can't pay all of them. You can't. I mean, it impacts everybody, but not everybody's going to get the NIL money that everybody reads about.
The way I've kind of started to look at it, and I think this is really important, is that it's not. It's about everything now is you should be looked at in aggregate. So it is really a more robust scholarship package is really what it is. Everything that we've done from a financials perspective over the last decade, all the enhancements along the way, cost of attendance, nutrition, Alston Academic Incentive Awards, now even this NIL, it all has a nexus back to either academics and or participation in athletics at the intercollegiate level. So it all just becomes part of this bigger, more comprehensive package than your strict, very prescribed tuition fees, room, board, books, right? And that's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah.
So I think that's where I challenge a little bit of the assertion sometimes that like there's this nefarious NIL space and it's all just pay for play and all this other thing. Yeah, there are elements of that,
right?
Particularly at the P4 level. But with what we're doing here, that it's way less pronounced in that regard. But the impact that we can have is the same in terms of being able to recruit and retain really quality students and athletes.
There you go.
So all that to say, we got to get more people involved.
All right.
That's what it's going to take.
The question that I'm dying to dive into with you at great length and any other coach is how do you figure out, how do your relationships with your high school coaches and your high school sources for athletes, how do those change from all this? Because, it's, we got ours, you get yours, and boy, how do they get there?
Yeah, that's a great question too. And I'll say this is just my personal thoughts on it. You still have to have the blend.
Yeah.
You can't be only high school and you can't be only portal or JUCO. You've got to find the blend, right? And that mix gets harder to evaluate when you have fluidity in these eligibility rules for sure. But at the same time too, I'll say this, I don't think the formula for winning has changed. No. Even though all the environment has, right? You still have to have, committed, student athletes who have a purpose for what they're doing. They're willing to do the work. They're coachable. They can bring, kind of build team and community with one another. Like the people side of this and the relationship side of it hasn't gone away. In fact, I think, and I kind of see a little bit of this with what happened with Arizona State. Kenny Dillingham was the offensive coordinator, was at Florida State, so I got to know Kenny there. But he's just really authentic, and I think authenticity is at a premium right now. Yeah. In this whole thing. Agreed. And at the same time too, I don't think student athletes and prospects are afraid of a high standard in competition, particularly when you're really explicit about it and constructive in that approach and just genuine with it. Sure. So there's a lot of bull crap out there right now, to be very frank. And so and these young people can see through it. I mean, and so I think, just authenticity is at a higher premium now than maybe it's ever been. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Do you think that all those high school kids that we're kind of thinking about here, they're going to lift the level of play in NAIA, in JUCO, in division, in even D2? Lesser extent, more D3 than D2.
Yeah, I think you touched on something really critical here, that just how this kind of washes a little bit. I think the quality and the parity at Division I gets tighter.
Mm-hmm.
Just between your whatever your roster, because you got these roster caps now, right?
Right.
So and those spaces are even more coveted than they were before, and so. Yeah, and then people that want to play have got to go find a place. They just can't sit on the end of the depth chart of the roster for 2 years and then come along. But to your point, then there's the trickle down, and then there's still the appetite coming up from
always
the high
going to be water coming out of the spring.
That's exactly it. And so, I think the quality across the board is going to go up. And I think you hear a lot of people talking about this new world of college athletics, separation in the haves and have-nots. I haven't seen it. In fact, I think there's more people that are able to compete now, at a high level than there were before. There's people that can make incremental improvements at a higher clip than they could before. If you had to reset your roster before and then try to build up, it was a multi-year process.
Yes.
Now really, depending on how many resources you have, you can make that happen quicker. And, it's like we kind of talked, I think we said it at one point earlier in the fall, for the first time, Indiana and Vanderbilt were ranked in the top 25 in football, I think since the 30s or something like that.
That's
right?
not exactly the rich getting richer when it comes to football.
Right. I mean, and you looked at an Arizona State who was, were they 1-11 like 2 years ago or something like that? I mean, they're on the verge of beating Texas.
Yeah.
I mean, Boise, they didn't get there. Just from sitting, just doing the same old thing, right? And so, I just honestly think, and again, just because you've got the resources too, doesn't mean that you're going to win.
Yeah, you have to use them well.
You got to use them well, right? And so, so I think that's where for us, when we look at how we're taking the resources that we get, and how we deploy them to create really positive outcomes, both in the player development and the academic space, then hopefully people can see that we're being good stewards, getting good return on it, and we want to get more people into the fold and commit additionally further for us to kind of get to that next phase of not just recruit, not just develop, but now retain.
Wow. Hey, you want to talk about something fun?
This is fun.
It is fun. It's great fun.
It is
It's
fun.
thrilling. And, I think the best part about it is we're 1 year away after this year. We have one more year of this nebulous, this kind of purgatory
3 semesters.
that we're in.
3 semesters.
And then it's like, come on, let's go.
That's it. Yeah. Well, and that's exactly it too.
Tournament or trouble.
No, that's it. And I think we're just, there's certainly some challenges with being in the transition process and not being postseason eligible as we try to recruit and retain. There's no doubt about it. I think we've challenged ourselves quite a bit on the scheduling front, and I'm not upset about that at all.
Yeah.
I think at the same time too is just being really measured in terms of how we evaluate that, right? Too, but at the same time too, it's I love that we're just going for it. There's something about that I really appreciate, and I think for one of the things about this university that I've just really just latched onto and loved about it is, when we commit ourselves to something and we lean into it, it happens here. And I'm just not saying in athletics. I'm just saying across the board. Whether it's becoming an R2 research institution or going out and trying to raise the level of what we're getting in some of our dean searches lately. I mean, we got great dean searches lately. I mean, just incredible work by Tammy Vakahasi and her team to, continue to do that. I mean, what we're doing with our academic programs, what's happening with, just the physical spaces. I mean, you drive up here right now, there's steel coming out the ground in multiple places. I mean, it's like, so I kind of go back to what we talked about before, like, no one should ever put a limit on what's possible here, because every time we lean into it, every time we commit ourselves fully to it, it happens.
You end up with rings.
There you
That's
go.
what happens.
There
Or a cold beer.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you want to talk about that?
Yeah. Well, that was, beer is good. So, but the footprint, it's like somebody poured, the initial tap opened up, Commerce, Texas, and then it spread as it spilled out over the bar.
Cool. Yeah.
How big is that spill mark
Yeah,
right now.
We haven't
It's-
talked about
it's
the beer in a
reaching.
while, but I guess it's probably good we do.
I know.
Right?
Well, we got to
Coming
get
out
a
of the holidays, right? Yeah.
We got to do this in the PM so we can have it
Then
a
we
cocktail
can actually
hour.
have one here, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, or the weekend or something, right? So now in over 100 retail locations, including we've now kind of penetrated into, kind of I would say Dallas proper.
Yeah.
We've got a presence in Richardson now. We've got we're actually in a Walmart over in Saxe, which is a big kind of step. We'd start out in the Brookshires, and the Freshes, which is great too. And then now we're northwest all the way up to Whitesboro, almost there, 35 in the Oklahoma border, all the way south to about Kaufman. Maybe a little bit further past that, Kemp, Maybank, that
Kemp,
area.
yeah.
And then, Paris, multiple locations, and go now as far east as Longview.
See, we got. If you've got Brookshires and you're that far east, then there's no reason that Brookshires couldn't go 30 miles further to Jefferson.
Hey,
and get a couple of 6-packs at the local Brookshires.
Hey,
there.
you just go ask your local Brookshires, great partner for Lion Athletics.
Yeah.
Right. And you just go in there and ask them. Make sure everybody at home. Make sure that you're asking all your groceries.
Lion Lager.
Go Bold Gold.
Bold Gold.
Texas Lager. That's right. That's it. Bold Gold.
We get sports and beer. What's better than this?
Again, you
what
said
is
what you want
better
to talk about
than
something
this?
good. This is fun, right? This is fun.
All right. Basketball coming up. Hey, we
four
got
games, 5 days.
Home games.
Let's do it.
Home games.
Home games, right?
Conference games. Be
Well,
interesting.
I guess we may have to reintroduce the team to everybody, right?
We'll do that.
Okay, good.
Well, you have introductions before every game. So
Okay,
you
good,
can
good.
Do the bench first, then the starters.
Well, here's
right?
the thing too. When we haven't been at home a lot this fall, but it makes a difference.
Yeah,
it makes a difference. So we need people out there. We appreciate everybody coming out. Saturday we're doing some things for the kids, bounce houses, a little more family focus. Everybody needs to get out of the house. School's not back in
That's
yet,
right.
so there's some pent up energy. So we'll give you an opportunity to give you an outlet to release that for the kids. So come on out and. But yeah, I mean, I'm excited to get back home. We were probably gone a little too long, and we felt it a little bit. But the 2 wins that we picked up at home on the men's side were really quality wins, like really quality wins. I mean, Abilene Christian and Southern, right? I mean,
right.
Those are really good wins. And then, on the women's side, picked up 2 W's earlier in the year. And honestly, that UTA game should have been a third.
Yeah.
I think we all probably knew we could have had that one too. So, again, it makes a difference being here in the field house. The people that come out and support, they make a difference too. So if you're on the fence, we need you. All right, we need you.
All right, and remember what happened on school day? That was when the guys beat Abilene Christian. So bring the kids.
Bring the kids. We got the bounce houses. They're the
best. They're the best noisemakers.
And we'll have the beer there too. So
that's it.
We got bounce houses for the kids and beer for the parents.
Just one of them. Somebody's got to drive. Hey, folks, Lions up. Thanks for tuning in, Jim. It's always a pleasure.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
And we've got more coming. Basketball coaches after this. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Inside Lion Athletics. Charlie Chitwood here. I'm joined now by men's basketball coach Jaret von Rosenberg. Coach, we had a real break over the Christmas break. I hope you had a good one with the family.
Yeah, it was great. Really nice. Obviously played out in Florida to end the fall season. But great for our guys to get some time off. I think they had 8 days off. Then we got back to work earlier in the week. And, again, just like everything, it's right back on top of us. We've been able to have 4 good practices. And then, we're looking forward to hosting McNeese on Saturday.
I know. Boom. Isn't it nice to, come back after the break and you're actually going to play at home?
Yeah, I know. Our schedule was extremely tough. The level of opponent and playing on the road as much as we did. So, all that being said, we stayed healthy. Our guys, for the most part, handled it well from a mentality standpoint. And, now we're in the thick of conference play, and we got 18 opportunities to kind of see where we lie.
You don't have too many guys with the experience of it, but last year preseason was kind of a grind too, and then you get into conference, and now suddenly it's all open and available to you again. You start out 0-2, but you still got 20 games left.
Yeah, there's a lot of opportunity there. It's a long 3 months that we're about to go into, and it'll be on a very very good schedule, if you will, very
regimented,
not all over the place like we were and traveling all over the country. It's a bus trip league. I think we have one flight in here, but you get 2 home games, 2 road games every week. So hopefully the consistency of our schedule and when we practice, when we're off, that'll help our guys. And now that the guys have gone through a whole semester, none of these JUCO guys, none of these freshmen, they're all technically sophomores or juniors or seniors in our eyes. So they should be ready to play better basketball, and we got to play better consistently as a group. And we've shown spurts, and we're still looking, and that's what practice is for, to still put it all together.
What did you tell the guys when y'all got home from Florida and then everybody's headed out to their individual homes? What did you tell them to do over the break?
No, to reset. Just go home, spend time with family. It's a long season. We're together from June 4th to May 15th, and then back at June 4th. So it's good. We got guys from all over the country. They don't get to see their families from when school starts till that break. So good to go home, reset, recharge, and then get hungry again and get ready to come back and work.
All right. Well, the first team you get to face right out of the box to get back to work is the preseason favorite to win the Southland again, the McNeese State Cowboys. Will Wade and company coming in.
Yeah, he does a great job. It's 2 years in a row. We've opened them with them after Christmas. I think our guys will be ready to compete. We got a tall task, a very good team. They returned a lot of players from last year's team, and then they just added more talent to the roster. So it's gonna be challenging. They play similar to how we're playing this year. We're switching everything 1 through 5, and so we'll kind of see where we're at. I think we're a better team for sure than we were a month ago. So we got to go show it.
Cowboys are coming in with one familiar face besides their own uniforms. Brewer, that used to play for us a year ago.
Yeah, he's over there. He hasn't played in a game yet. I'm not exactly sure what's going on. I know he has some injury stuff going on, so I don't know if he'll be available this weekend. But he's over there, and we're going to play multiple guys from our roster last year in the league. So that's part of the new landscape, the new environment. Not ideal, obviously, but I wish him the best, and he was nothing but good to us and tried to help us win games.
Sure.
Did what he's supposed to do on and off the floor. So that's one piece of this new system that we'll go through, and he's the first one that's going to come back and play us, so it won't be the last.
Indeed. Everybody's seeing a little bit of that. Nichols Colonels coming up on Monday night. That game's going to be at 6:30. Colonels seem to be a bit improved from last year.
Well, yeah, they're good. They were really good last year. They returned a core of their team from last year. That's kind of the theme around the country, is the teams that return some players and return some stability have done really well, especially early in the season. And they've been battle tested. We joked about the Seattle game. We were both watching it at midnight, our time the other night. But they've played some close games and won some close games. So they're definitely not afraid to go on the road. So you got 2 opponents in here that don't care that they're on the road. That they have the chance to win at home on the road. They're just good basketball teams. So it'll be a great opening weekend for us. Really high level basketball, and hopefully our guys put themselves in the position in the last 4 minutes, and then we can get just that little bit of advantage at home.
Coach, every time you've talked about your team to other folks, you talk about how athletic they are and how gifted they are. They just haven't gelled yet, right? Talk about that a little bit. I mean, they're an athlete. They're a gifted bunch, but
yeah, we turn it over too much. I mean, that's really, if you're going to come down to one thing, we've talked about it. We've turned it over too much, and we so as coaching staff, we're trying to simplify things, but it just seems like we're right there. We'll make a bad decision, and then that stuff becomes contagious a little bit. So we gotta. Maybe we got to stop talking about it as much and just more focus on our execution. But we got to take care of the basketball. Our opponent has had a lot to do with that, and being on the road, and our schedule. It's not. That's why I still like our guys. It's not like they're a capable bunch. They've showed up to work every day. They are going to continue to get better. They just got to keep fighting through this. And it's not going to be perfect, but we got to just keep limiting the poor possessions on both sides of the ball. And if you do that incrementally, you start getting these games and get late in these games, and you go make a couple plays, and then you start, having the ability to win some of them. Okay,
very good. Out of the players on the squad, the newcomers that some people haven't even seen yet because we've had so few home games, who are they going to be most excited about when they see out there?
There's a lot of them. Josh Taylor's been one that's been pretty consistent for us. Cam James has had some big games. I'm still looking for him to continue his consistency. TJ Thomas leads us in assist. So Scooter Williams, I think he's lead us in scoring. Him and Kalik are 1 and 2, wherever they fall from game to game. So there's a lot of new guys that are having huge contributions, and it kind of goes back to the same thing. We just need them to be more consistent individually, and that'll help us be consistent collectively.
When you are teaching and trying to get your guys out of the turnover thing, what's the physical thing they have to do that they're not getting done? How are they not protecting the ball?
It's not that simple. If it was that simple, I think everyone would be able to do it. So one guy will play 25 minutes and have 0 turnovers, and then you're like, all right, well, he knows how to take care of the ball, and the next time he'll have 5 turnovers in a game. And then somebody that turned it over, they're just taking turns. So we're trying to just simplify it and, see the open man, throw the ball to the open man. And it's not that basketball is not that simple. But we have too many non-forced turnovers where a team, if a team gets up and traps you and you're not ready for the trap and you get caught with, two guys with their hands up and you get in a bad spot, you're going to have some of those turnovers. That's part of basketball. We're turning people over too. It's the ones where we're in transition, there's no defense on us, and we, for whatever reason, just throw the ball to the other team. And those are the ones you got to eliminate. And I'm not trying to sound funny. If you put on our film, there's 4 or 5 a game that they're not really excusable. There's not really a reason. We gotta value. Probably the best thing to do is you gotta value the possessions. And right now, guys they're playing hard, they're playing with effort. They're just not valuing possessions. They're not understanding that. And that's part of working on getting them to understand how valuable each possession is. And then you're in these games, you're playing a really good opponent. When you don't value possessions 3, 4, 5 times out of 6, now teams are up 12 instead of a tie game. And it happens quickly. And that's part of experience, understanding, maturity, and that's what we're working on.
So the 2 games, the victory over Southern, the victory over Abilene Christian, especially that one, those are really good wins. And do you get the guys, just watch this over and over, see that you had that success, not just for the dub.
We've said a million things.
Okay.
The problem is we're all human. 2 and 12 is not good. I don't care how good you feel about it. How I can talk however I want. It's all BS. Your record is 2 and 12. Now we know we did not play a game on our schedule that we were favored to win. Not one. So it was going to be challenging. I'm upset that we're a better team, and we should have won some games earlier at Stonehill. If we would have played better and been more locked into what we're trying to do, we'd have some opportunities to win some games earlier that maybe change the trajectory late in the, maybe South Florida is different if you had won 4 or 5 games and you had that taste in your mouth. So it is what it is. It's all in preparation for going into this opening weekend and then obviously the next 18 games. So, I give our guys a lot of credit. They have continued to show up. They're not whining and complaining about what they don't have or what the record is. Just show up every day and get after it.
If you love playing the game, you play the game.
Yep, that's the idea.
All right. Saturday afternoon, 2:15 tip-off for the guys. That's, of course, if the women get done on time. And then Monday night, Nichols Colonels in for a 6:30 start. That'll be the only game in town on Monday evening. Coach, always a pleasure. Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year.
Glad y'all had a good break.
Yeah, you too.
Kiddos, Sarah, you had to play Santa Claus.
We're back at it. There's no more break until March.
No, and it goes on for others. So, all right, Lions up, folks. We'll be back just a few minutes. Talk to Valerie King. Welcome back, everybody, to Inside Lion Athletics. We are not done yet. We've had Jim Curry. We've had Jaret von Rosenberg. We've had even Brittany Miller because softball's starting up soon. But now we got women's basketball to talk about. Here's head coach Valerie King. Coach, how was the holiday? Have a good break?
I did. Yeah, it was really good. really good.
Kiddos. Is there anything more fun than Christmas morning with kiddos and a tree?
No. But with a 2 and 3 year old, you get through presents pretty quick. In about 15 minutes, everything's unwrapped.
Unraveled. There's not an inch
everywhere.
of floor space that you can even find.
That's right.
That's
right.
good, though.
Yeah.
That's all right.
It was a fun day.
They always take really long naps after they get through the tree.
Yeah, they napped that day. I don't know if it was very long, but they did.
All right. Well, what'd you eat? Was it is your a turkey household for both of the holidays? Or
no, we've been doing crab, shrimp, and like seafood line. So it's been good.
God, next Christmas I want to come to your house. We had turkey and ham, and it was delicious. But, Juanita's a great cook, but I've had turkey and ham for Thanksgiving and Christmas for 63 years.
Yeah. It gets old.
It does.
Yeah.
It does. But we ate other good foods, too.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Well, let's talk hoops.
Right.
You got a game tonight.
We do. 6:30.
In comes, let's see, it is going to be Nichols, the Colonels.
Yeah.
And, you had those 2 games to start out conference on the road. They didn't go the way you wanted, but at least you're starting at home.
Yeah, it's really good to be home. We haven't played here since November 18th. So.
I know the floor is different.
Yeah,
it says East Texas on it now.
Yeah, so it's been a while. So our kids are excited to be back home. I'm excited to to playing back home. So Nichols, they're good. They're playing really well right now. Had a close game with Southeast Louisiana, lost by 4, and then turned around and beat New Orleans by 4 a few days later. So, they started conference off pretty well.
That game that Nichols had with Southeastern, they probably had a little emotional investment in that one more than normal since their star player, Lexi Alexander, portaled out and then portaled into Southeastern.
Right. Yeah. It was a good game. It was back and forth, and it was Nichols is playing really well right now. They're very structured on the offensive end with the Princeton offense they run, and very, very disciplined on the defensive end.
Is it going to help that you just played a team that was running the Princeton offense at UIW?
Yeah, I feel like we've been guarding it for quite a while now. And we have some of those actions within our offense, so it's pretty typical for us to guard that 2 or 3 times out of the week. So, we know what we're doing. We know our game plan. We know what we're supposed to be doing. So, I'm confident that we'll be able to, follow through with that.
Talk a little bit about practice since you got back. 3-4 practices since the return before tonight's game?
Yeah, we got back in here last Saturday, so we've had about almost 4 or 5 practices, 4 or 5 days. And they've been really good. Our kids have, come in with a mindset to, flip the switch, flip the page, get back in here, get back to working, and press forward. We've got a lot of room to improve on both ends of the floor, and we still have time to do that, which is the great thing.
Well, 20 out of 22 games still remain on the schedule. But it's a little bit different from last year. Last year, you only had to be better than 2 teams in the league. You were better than more than that. This year, you got to be better than 4 of them.
That's right. Yep. Only taking 8 teams to the tournament. It's that's a big knock, I think.
Wasn't it a dozen when you were in the mountain? Wasn't that a dozen teams?
We had 11. Yeah, and all 11 went. I like that when that happens. But, the 8's fine. We've got to find ourselves in that top 8. So.
All right. Well, what have you found out about your team over the break? You said you watched some film just to kind of really nitpick while you had the time. We had to shore up some things on the offensive end, getting the ball moved side to side and not taking such quick shots. I think sometimes we fall in love with, the quick shot, but then that puts us in a, bad position of defensive transition, and then, they're able to score quickly, and I guess just teaching our kids, like not taking a quick shot when, they've just scored the ball. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? To then again put them in quick offensive transition. So, teaching those little aspects of the game, knowing what we really want to get out of offense. Defensively, still got some work to do. Is it more in the backcourt or the forecourt that you need them to pick it up, or is it just everybody?
I think it's just an overall. It's a mindset. It's getting in a stance. Taking it personal, knowing that you can guard your man one-on-one, but you also have 4 teammates behind you to help you. So, we've really been working on that the past 4 or 5 practices, and just being connected on the defensive end. I think that's a big thing for us right now.
How about your bigs? We've seen some dynamic play out of them sometimes, and then other times you'll wonder who they are.
Yeah. All of them are doing a really good job. I think it's, again, learning. Alva's in from an NAIA, Nylock from, just from high school. So it's, it's been, I think, a big learning curve for both of them. They're both doing really well. But, I think just being more consistent day in and day out on both ends of the floor.
Now, all the teams you're going to see the rest of the way, you have seen before. Some of your players have played against before, and I'm talking about, last year and even maybe seasons before that. Does that help them kind of settle into a rhythm? Is there a little bit less unknown about what remains of the season when you get into conference?
I think so. We have so many, new kids. And again, probably most of them have played a lot of the teams in our league, but I still think it's different. I think it's such a learning curve for our team right now. I do like the conference aspect of us playing, Thursday, Saturday here, the rest of the way out. I'm able to get into a rhythm. Our kids will be able to, practice wise throughout the week. So I'm hoping we can settle into that and, get going on the right side.
All right. So, all right, off topic, because we know the game's tonight and the tip-off is at 6:30.
6:30.
Right?
Yep.
What did the kids do over the break? Did everybody come back with stories from what I did on my summer or Christmas vacation?
Some of them did. Some of them, 3 of the foreign kids, actually all 4 of the foreign kids went elsewhere in the U.S. The Michigan kids went to Michigan, said it was too cold and snowy, so they were happy to be back here.
I think that's why Jim, he went up north for a little bit and came back too. Yeah. I don't blame him.
So, but they had a much needed break, physically, mentally. So, it was good to have everybody back last week, though.
Is there any place besides the field house that some of your teams like, oh man, I love shooting there, or I love playing there? You talk about the other gyms. I know that the first 2 we've been in are not those gyms.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. I'd have to think about that one.
Okay. All right. Nichols, they just kind of fixed theirs up, and last year was probably as spiffy as it's been in a while.
Yeah.
And it was an interesting venue. I don't know about shooter's eyes and all that sort of thing, because I can't shoot anyway.
I'm kind of backtracking through my memory now, trying to figure that out. But
okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, figure out the Princeton offense. Yeah. That's what you need to teach your team how to do.
That'll be good.
All right. Good enough. Let's play them at home.
That's right.
All right. Lion women are on the court this evening taking on the Nichols Colonels, and that's a big Southland Conference game to open up with. Come on down. See them. And if you can't, we'll have it on Lion Sports Network, and you know where to find that at lionathletics.com. Folks, thanks for tuning in. We're going to Lions up here, and we'll do it again next week. Happy New Year to you, everybody. Hope you all had a great Christmas, a good break. But now let's get back to the fun stuff we love so much.